I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know about. Aloha, you caught me. I am finally working on the bamboo treehouse that I'm going to make for my son. I want to show you my process for building this bamboo house, but before I do that, I want to dive into various methods for joining bamboo together. And today I want to show you how to make a fish mouth joint. It's one of the strongest joints that we can use in bamboo construction, and I'm going to show you a modified version of it that can make it even stronger. So let's just jump right into the process and how we make a fish mouth joint. And in future videos, I'll show you how I put the walls together and make it all happen. We're going to start by cutting up the horizontal and vertical pieces that we're going to use for our project. Then we're going to ensure that they're clean and free of debris and that there's no insect damage. And if there is, we're going to throw it out. So I have my vertical piece and my horizontal piece. This horizontal piece is going to fit into the fish mouth joint. First thing that I need to do though is measure the diameter of this piece of bamboo. Alright, so we want to measure the diameter of this bamboo, and this bamboo is 3 1/4 inches. So to get the radius, it's just half of 3 1/4, which is 1 5/8 inches. So we are going to transfer that measurement onto our other piece of wood, our vertical piece of bamboo. Okay, so we're going to take the radius that we just measured out, which was 1 5/8 inches, and make a mark on our vertical piece of bamboo. And then we're just going to kind of draw a circle around this bamboo freehand. Just use your hand that's inside the bamboo as an anchor point. Alright, and then we want to make 4 marks on the edge of the bamboo, like a cross. Then it's okay to be freehand. Okay, and then pick any 2 of these marks and draw a line up. Draw it from the mark on the end up to the radius mark on the bamboo, and go ahead and do that on the side directly opposite. Okay, and now we're going to join these other marks to this point over here. So alright, and then do the same on the opposite side. I like to draw a little marker of where I'm going. Okay, it's okay if it's not straight and even, and we're going to cut out these marks here. Alright, so to cut out the fish mouth joint, you can use a circular saw. This would probably be my least favorite option. You could use a hand saw, and you can also use a miter saw or a chop saw. That would be the best way to cut these fish mouth joints. It's the fastest, easiest way to do a lot of bamboo at once. Unfortunately, mine conked out. I don't have a good handsaw, so I'm left with this. So let's go ahead and cut this fish mouth joint. Okay, this is a rough fish mouth joint. It's not really going to have the bamboo fitting real flush in it yet, This bamboo needs to be kind of carved down. We need to make these high sides thinner and these low sides flatter so that the bamboo has a nice cup to fit right into. So you can use a grinder to be able to grind that out, or you just got to carve it by hand with a bamboo knife. And so that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to carve this by hand, get it ready for our horizontal piece to fit right inside. So we want to thin out the tops and flatten out these lower areas, and our fish mouth joint is ready to go. Can you see the fish mouth? Yeah, it's ready to bite. So you can go ahead and take this fish mouth joint and put it right up to your horizontal bamboo piece here. See how well it fits. This piece is fitting in pretty well. They're both pretty different in size. And then you could go ahead and secure that with a dowel, but right now I want to show you a modified version that'll make this joint even stronger. Alright, to make a modified fish mouth joint, we're going to take the fish mouth that we already created, and we're going to take a bamboo insert that's a little bit smaller. We're going to be able to slide it right in to this piece here, and then this piece will fit into this piece here. But first we have to measure out our hole and then drill a hole. So first, in order to do that, put the bamboo where you're going to want it. So we're going to make a little marking here, see where our bamboo is going to be, and then we're going to put a little center point. Then we're going to find a drill bit. It could be a hole saw or one of these Forstner bits that would fit this bamboo here. And so this one is just a little bit smaller, so when I drill the hole I can carve it out just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and go with this one and drill a hole right here where we made our mark. Alright, so we got to carve it out just a little bit, and then it should fit right in. And you can see how I made this hole close to a node right here. That's going to give it a lot more strength for our joint. You don't want to have it in the middle of a node because it can collapse. Okay, let's test it out. All right, it fits. So now we're going to fit it into our vertical piece. All right, then we're going to take this in, fit it into our vertical piece here. Perfect fit. And then we want to put a dowel here, and then we can put a dowel up here, and this piece will be nice and solid. All right, so that's a much stronger joint right here. Using that little bamboo insert really strengthens this joint. But to add more strength, we can put an angle brace right here, and I'll show you how to make one of those in a future video. But for now, fish mouth joint. This joint can hold a lot of weight. This piece of bamboo will be holding the weight of this piece of bamboo, which will be holding the weight of the roof, all pegged together with bamboo pegs. All right, there you have it, guys. Installing a fish mouth joint, the modified version. You can see how strong it really can be to use these joints when you're building with bamboo. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the joints that we just created, and I'll show you how I actually use them during the whole process of building in a future video. It's slightly different than what we just showed you. Some more of the building is going to happen in place, but mostly the process stays the same. It's been slow going, but I am finally starting to work on the roof of my bamboo treehouse. And I thought this would be a great time to go over knots and lashing techniques for bamboo building. Up until now, we've used bamboo pegs and bolts to put this building together. But now that we're on the roof, we're going to be doing some lashing techniques to attach the purlins to the rafters. So let's go over 4 knots today. We're going to go over a clove hitch. We're going to go over square lashing. We're going to go over Japanese square lashing. And we're going to go over a constrictor knot. These 4 knots are commonly used when building with bamboo. And we're going to be utilizing paracord because it's available locally, and out of all the locally available ropes that I've tested out, paracord was the best. Now, is it the best overall? No. There's other ropes out there that are especially formulated for lashing bamboo together. Unfortunately, you got to special order that in here in Hawaii, so I'm just using what I could find easily. And I found paracord to be a great alternative. So let's get into exactly how to make those 4 knots for building our bamboo building. But before we do, be sure to plant your finger on that like button, because every time you plant that finger, you're helping this channel grow and flourish. All right, let's dive into it. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is take a section of paracord that is about 6 to 8 feet long, and we're gonna make a clove hitch. So in order to make a clove hitch, we're gonna go over, across, and then back up through, like so, okay? Pull it tight. And then now we're gonna do our square lashing. So pretty much you just go around each piece of bamboo. Around and over. I like to try and tuck in this tag end here. Helps tighten it. Oops. Okay. And then I try my best to go in line with the rope that was there before me. So right next to it. Making it look all nice, neat, and tidy. We're gonna go across and do this a couple times. And then once it's equal on both sides, we're gonna do what I call the cinch lash, which is when we go across like this and we cinch it all down. Makes it so much tighter. Okay, just make sure that as you do this, you pull it as tight as you can. All right, so once you've gone around 3 times, we're gonna tie it off with another clove hitch, which is around once, cross, come back around, and then pull it up through. And then pull it tight. All right, so you can see this lashing is pretty tight. So tight, I moved the whole building. This thing's not going anywhere. So we have a nice, tightly lashed joint. The reason we do lashing here on the purlins is, for one, it looks better than having a bunch of bolts. The pegs can't hold the pressure. Sometimes you have a purlin that is shaped a little off. It has a curve to it, and you need to pull the 2 pieces together. And wherever we might have a pull away feature, we want to either do lashing or bolts. Other areas where we're just trying to nail things together, the bamboo pegs work great for that. All right, so now I'm going to show you another knot here, Japanese square knot. We're going to take a 6 foot length of rope. We're going to meet the ends up so that we have a loop on the other end. And go ahead and let go of these ends and let's keep that loop. And I'm going to loop it over the end of the bamboo here. And we're going to start going over and under, keeping the string nice and orderly. And then once we come here, we're going to separate and cross with one of them. And we're going to continue on going down, and then we're going to do our cinch lash by going across opposite directions with each tag end, and then around in a circle, pulling it tight as you go. You can see up here an X is formed, and around here we're getting it nice and tight. And then you could tie it off with another cinch knot here, which is around, across, and then up through the middle. There we go. Or we can go ahead and do what is called the constrictor knot, which is really similar to the cinch knot. We're going to go around, across, and then this time we're going to go over and then under the cross in the middle. Okay? And what we're doing essentially is we're forming up a cinch knot with a overhand knot, making it just a little bit stronger of a hold. And there you go. Japanese square knot with a cinch knot and a constrictor knot. So I'm carving a bamboo peg, one of many hundreds that I have to make to build a bamboo treehouse. A while back, my son asked me to build a treehouse for him, and I decided to make it out of bamboo. I figure let's utilize some natural materials. But nobody said building out of natural materials was going to be easy. Most times when you go to Home Depot, you already have the wood cut and milled and ready to go, and for the most part, you just have to nail it together. But when we're working with natural materials, there's a lot more work involved. You're the one who has to turn it from raw material into something more processed. So, how did I get myself into this? Let's step back a little and see how this all began.
Hey Dad, can you make me a treehouse?
Sure, buddy, but why do you want a treehouse?
I want a treehouse so I can play with my friends, without my sister around so I can work on projects. You know, there's a place to be alone without anybody else.
Oh man, how could I say no to that? So here we are. I harvested a bunch of bamboo from a friend of mine's who said I could have all that I could take, and then I treated it so that it could be resistant to bugs and last much longer than bamboo would last if you didn't treat it. And in fact, if you want to learn how to do that, I did make some videos that you can check out above. I have one video that shows how to pressure treat bamboo by making a modified bouchier system. And I also have another video that shows how to just soak the bamboo in a solution of boric acid and borax that will treat the bamboo and make it last for many, many years. And we're taking that bamboo we treated and we're turning it into a treehouse. This is what we got here so far, and I'll go over the process of how we got to where we are right now. But this treehouse is located in our food forest. We're gonna equip it with a bridge, a slide, and you know, all those other fun little things that treehouses typically have. Except this one will be made out of bamboo. So let's jump into what we've been doing so far. We measured off all our bamboo poles and cut them to size using a Sawzall. And then we made some modified fish mouth joints that we covered in a past video that shows you exactly how to make these. And these are used for the vertical posts that are holding up the main wall beam in our structure. And that's happening on all four corners. Now you can make the fish mouth joints on the ground or in place. I chose to do most of these in place here so that I can level off the uneven bamboo here. You can see that it's not perfectly straight, so I kind of play with the level of the vertical piece. I make it as level as it possibly can be, and then I mark off where the fish mouth joints want to be, and then I make them. After that, after I carve them all out, it gets pegged together and temporarily braced in place. I like using the 2x4s as opposed to a piece of bamboo because the bamboo doesn't really attach to the foundation here very well. Whereas a 2x4, you can easily nail in down there and then just tie it off up here. So once we got all that kind of braced off, we got our bracing in place here using cross pegging. And when we cross peg, that keys in the bamboo so it doesn't just slide out. It's a great technique when using bamboo pegs to secure things. And now I'm starting to install the top plates here for walls 3 and 4 to walls 1 and 2. You can see here that we're going to be using bolts instead of pegs. This area here is going to be holding a lot of major weight for the bamboo structure. And so I just wanted to make sure that it was more secure than using bamboo pegs. And so you could use bamboo bolts or bamboo pegs throughout the whole structure, but the cost adds up, so I like to just use them where I feel like they're really needed. And so pretty soon we're going to start framing the roof. And that's going to be a whole nother process that I'm going to show you in a future video, exactly how we're going to frame the roof for this bamboo house. We did make a model of this bamboo structure beforehand, so we would have more of an idea of how much bamboo we were going to need and how we were going to connect it all. But as we were building, I decided to make a change to the roof design, so we're going to tweak that a little bit on the fly. But the model is a great way for you to get a grasp on what kind of work you're going to need to do when constructing any bamboo structure. And yeah, but before we go, I want to show you how we're connecting the bamboo to our foundation. So I saw this method shown by another YouTube video, and I thought it was a genius idea. These little eye hooks coming out of the foundation that you can just tie the bamboo off to. Right now I have it temporarily tied. I'm going to have 3 more pieces meeting up right here at this juncture, and all of them are going to be tied off to these eye hooks. And it's a great way to secure the bamboo without actually having to drill into the bamboo. Now another method for creating a foundation for bamboo, if you're actually on the ground and you can pour a concrete footing, is you can make a custom concrete footing in which you have a piece of rebar sticking out. And the rebar will stick through the bottom of the bamboo here up to the first node. And you can drill a hole in the bamboo and fill it with concrete and really secure the bamboo to the foundation that way. Darn! Why does it keep splitting? Every time I nail it in. Oh, hey man, what you doing? Hey man, I'm just trying to nail these two pieces of bamboo together, but man, every time I try and nail in a bamboo, it just splits. I don't know what's going on. Oh man, you can't connect two pieces of bamboo with nails. You gotta make special bamboo pegs like these. Hey, how about I show you how to make some of these right now? Well, heck man, why not? All right, to make a bamboo peg, you're gonna need a piece of bamboo. I like to have one that's about 12 inches long and it has no nodes on either end. And you're gonna need a bamboo splitting knife. This one is blunt on one side and sharp, really sharp on the other. And then I have myself a bamboo carving knife here. And I'll put links to all these little tools in the description. So first thing we want to do is split our bamboo round here. And we're gonna split it into a rough size of a bamboo peg, and then we'll shave it down from there. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a piece about this big. And what we want to start with is to shave off the silica on either sides here, because that's what almost like a knife, and you can cut yourself pretty well right there. So just go ahead. All right, there you go. Now it's a little bit easier to handle, and you can see how big of a diameter it is. And I didn't mention this before, we want to make sure that we start with using treated bamboo. It would be best if all these pegs are treated just like the lumber for your bamboo, so that they'll last you a long time. So this bamboo was already treated, and now it's been drying for about 2 months, and we're carving it up here. And we just want to barely trim off this outer skin here. This is where the strength of the bamboo peg is at most. It gets softer as we reach the middle. So it's best to retain the strength of the bamboo here on the outer portion of it, and carve away as much as you can on the inner portion. All right, and you can see this is about a finished piece. It's like a thick chopstick, or you could have varying diameters depending on where you're going to use these bamboo pegs. But I taper it off from its narrow diameter on one side going to a thicker diameter on the other. And that way, if in case my hole is bigger or whatnot, it could just really, it could fit in nice and easy, but then it could cinch in and really hold that joint real well as it expands towards the end of the peg. And so this is a great peg, and you want to make about 1,000 more of these for your bamboo structure that you're going to build. It normally does take a lot of these when you're building. Well, alright guys, there you have it. How to make bamboo pegs to join your bamboo. Next video, we're going to actually show you how to do just that. We're going to make a bamboo joint, and we're going to join it together with these pegs. One thing you got to do right now is just start carving a bunch of these, because you will need tons of bamboo pegs in whatever building you decide to construct. Or shoot, even if you decide to build furniture, you're going to use some sort of bamboo peg to be able to connect your joints. Today we are going to dive more into bamboo construction. I wanted to go over the difference between bamboo pegs, using bolts, or using lashing to join bamboo together. So without much further ado, let's just dive into it, huh? So in a previous video, we learned how to make bamboo pegs. But bamboo pegs are a vital tool for connecting bamboo. They are as ubiquitous as nails in bamboo construction, but they're not very strong. They can hold about 7 kilograms per like 3 square centimeters or something like that. And as you can see from right here, they can break pretty easy, yeah? Whereas we have bolts that we can use. I have a bolt like this where it's got a fixed head on one side, and then you use a nut and a washer on the other. Or you could get a threaded rod and then buy your own nuts and washers and make your own. I suggest using threaded rods for this purpose, but you can see I can't break this. This thing holds about a ton of weight per, a couple centimeters. And then we have lashing. Lashing is used to join two bamboo pieces together, especially when they're just sitting on top of each other. And this is a great way to join bamboo. It's very strong, but it doesn't last forever. It allows your buildings to move a little, whereas these make a little bit more of a rigid building, but these bolts can tend to split your bamboo and tend to rust out, whereas the lashing tends to just degrade sometimes over age. When using lashing, I would highly suggest paracord over any sort of natural fiber. I tried a bunch of different types of natural fibered rope in here on this little structure, and all of the natural fiber connections are getting really loose, whereas the ones I did with paracord are still as tight as the day that I tied them. So just some cheap paracord. I picked this up at Home Depot. To sum it all up, you're going to use a bamboo peg when you have two pieces of bamboo going inside of each other that are not load bearing. You're going to use bamboo lashing for two pieces of bamboo that are not load bearing but are on top of each other, like roof purlins perhaps. And you're going to use a bolt for pieces of bamboo that are either on top of each other or fit inside each other, where there is a lot of weight being carried. This is going to be the main thing you use in those spots there. So let's go over how we install one of these on these little sample pieces of bamboo. What you're going to need is a bolt, a threaded rod of some sort, or you can have a prefabricated bolt. You're going to need some nuts, some washers. You're going to need a drill with a drill bit. You're going to need a wrench, a sawzall or a grinder. I have a little piece of bamboo to tighten things down. I have some lashing and a hammer. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go under, over, and back under. And we want to meet up kind of together here. So if your knots are off, go ahead and make another one. And then we're going to insert this tool here, and we'll use it to tighten our joint. This is just to hold it down for us while we get the job done, yeah? Okay, and ideally when you are connecting two pieces of bamboo, you are as close to a node as possible. So here we are close to two nodes. These nodes are closer together than some other bamboos where they're further apart, but as close as we can get to the node will make it stronger. It won't collapse in on itself. Okay. All right, we got that. All right, this is good bamboo, very thick walled and hard to drill through. All right, so I like to test out my bolts and see how long they are. This one is obviously too short, so we're gonna use the threaded rod. Okay, so we got it through on both sides here. Okay, so we're gonna take our threaded rod and put a washer down and then throw on a nut. And we'll tighten that down. And then same thing on the other side. But what I like to do is I like to get one side of the threaded rod as close as possible to its end point. That way I don't waste too much of the rod and will maybe use more later. So you see here on this side, I like to have the nut as far out as possible. Hammer that in, and then we'll bring this side all the way down. Okay, and then tighten it down with your wrench. You don't want to go too far to crush the bamboo, but you do want to tighten it down nice and tight. Okay, take off your lashing here. Cut off the other side, and we are done. All right, so that's how you join bamboo with bolts. Some people would even go so far as drilling a hole in the node and filling it with concrete to make it even stronger. That's not completely necessary, but if you're that kind of person, go for it. So I hope you enjoyed the little bit of a differences between pegs, bolts, and lashing, and how to install the actual bolts. And in future videos, we'll go over some lashing techniques, and then pretty soon we'll finally start building. I'm excited to do that. I know I've been talking about it for a while, but it's finally time to get doing it. My son gave me a deadline. He said, you gotta get it done before Christmas. So I gotta live up to my word, right? So here it is. This is the bamboo treehouse that I've been working on for my son for way too long. My dream is to get some thatch or bamboo shingles to finish off that roof. But for now, there's nothing like a trusty tarp. Today I wanted to show you guys how I made the railings for this treehouse, as well as briefly go over the foundations. I've made chicken coops out of bamboo, I've made trellises out of bamboo, I've made this treehouse out of bamboo, and I have a little bungalow that I've made out of bamboo. I love just messing around with building with bamboo. Now, I'm no master craftsman. There are a lot of other people out there that can build some amazing bamboo buildings that are a lot better than mine. You can see that you can build some amazing things out of bamboo. Now, I don't think I'll ever build anything that good, but you don't have to. Just by using natural materials, you're already building something beautiful. So over the years, I've just been mainly dabbling in building with bamboo. Until 2019, when I got to go on a trip of a lifetime to Indonesia, and I got to build with some amazing local builders out there. And then one day, my son asked me the sweetest thing one disheveled morning.
Hey Dad, can you make me a treehouse? I want a treehouse so I can play with my friends, without my sister around so I can work on projects. You know, just a place to be alone without anybody else. Dad, I can't wear a shirt like that when you're making a video. Wear this one.
Oh, wow. This is a nice shirt, Walker.
It's nice.
Thank you. Who made this shirt?
A company called Into the AM.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They make some really cool designs. They got this bamboo design here. They got crazy Moon Man designs.
Yeah.
Even Walker's wearing a shirt from them.
Yeah.
And the company is called Into the AM. I'm so glad they found me because, boy, I needed some new t-shirts. And thanks to Into the AM, I got some. So let's show these guys some love. Go to intotheam.com and check out their gear. I'll leave a link for them down in the description below. And if you use my special discount code, Homesteadin, you're going to get an extra 10% off. And they have the foresight to sponsor a channel like mine, so you know they got to be pretty good. All right, guys, now let's get back into it. So here it is, the treehouse he asked for the most part at least. It's been up for over a year now. Some of the bamboo was treated, some was not. The sun is having an impact on the skin of some of these bamboo poles, which some sort of varnish could have helped prevent. But overall, it's held up pretty strong. Now, in previous videos, I've showed you how to treat bamboo and make the joints. And in this video, I want to show you how I made these railings strong enough to put up with the abuse from kids. Let's check it out. So to make sure that we have strong and secure railings, I had to come up with an idea that didn't use screws, because screws will split a lot of this stuff. So I drilled a hole in the vertical piece of bamboo, and then I got a smaller diameter piece of bamboo and hammered it in all the way through to go through inside of this piece of bamboo. And in some places, the smaller diameter bamboo is held in place by this vertical piece here, or in other spots, I've bolted them to secure them in place, like this one here. So this creates really strong railings so that your kids won't fall through. You can see here my foundation technique for this treehouse. Since this is built on a raised wooden platform, I just stuck this eye hook into the platform here and then tied the bamboo posts to the eye hooks, keeping the bamboo in place without having to pierce the bamboo with any screws or bolts. There are better methods, but this one works. But if you want to see better ways to create foundations for bamboo, you need to check out this video right here. If you're into building with bamboo, you've probably wondered about how to make good foundations for bamboo, because I know that's something I've thought about in the past. And while I'm no expert on bamboo building and bamboo foundations, I have been trying to learn a lot about them in the past few years. Now, the foundations that I've constructed in the past have been pretty rudimentary, but I'll show you some of those just so you can get an idea of what a simple foundation system can look like. But we're also going to get into more highly engineered foundations, like the ones the builders use for the bamboo buildings at Bamboo U, which is like a bamboo educational facility out in Indonesia. So are you ready to learn more about bamboo foundations? Then let's get into it. Bamboo can be used to build amazing structures that can last just as long as conventional wood structures. But in order for bamboo to last that long, it needs to not only be treated, but it needs a good roof and a good foundation, or a good hat and good boots, as they say in the builder world. But this is nothing new. You have to do the same thing when you build out of wood, otherwise it won't last long either. Now, foundations are the most important part of any structure. It must be strong enough to withstand storms, earthquakes, and other environmental forces. And it must keep bamboo dry so it doesn't rot or attract pests. For the bamboo structures that I build out of my place, I mostly have them sitting on wooden platforms or decks, which kind of takes care of a lot of the foundation problems right there. When I'm building with bamboo, they're already sitting off of the ground. But to secure them into place, I screwed these ones to brackets here inside this bamboo bungalow, and up in the treehouse, I poked an eye hook through the foundation and tied the bamboo posts to them. Neither of these are great ways to create a foundation, but they've worked for the past 5 years, so I thought I'd pass them along. But to get into what it takes to construct a real foundation for bamboo, I'm going to borrow a bit from what I learned from taking a few courses at Bamboo U. Now, if you haven't heard of Bamboo U already, they're a bamboo education company based out of Bali, Indonesia. They have online courses and in-person courses that teach you all about
bamboo design, and hands-on building. So if you're interested in bamboo like me, that might be something worth checking out. I'll leave a link for them down in the description below. And I'm also going to leave for you down in the description below a link for a free ebook that I put together about bamboo foundations. Now, it's nothing fancy. It's just a bunch of pictures showcasing different styles of foundations that you can do when building with bamboo. But it goes in a little bit deeper than what I cover in this video. So if you want to learn more, go ahead and check that out. So how they do it at Bamboo U is a much better method than those methods I already showed you. It starts by marking out where your footings will go on your building site. Then you cast your concrete foundations, forming them up with wood, round tubes, or even PVC pipes. The concrete footing should be a little bit bigger than the diameter of your bamboo poles that will be resting on it. Next, you stick a few pieces of rebar about 3 feet tall out the center of it all, and then fill it with concrete. Let it cure for about 2 to 4 weeks, watering it down every day. Concrete wicks moisture, so you need some sort of moisture barrier between the concrete and the bamboo, or mold will form. And at Bamboo U, they use natural stones, which act as a natural moisture barrier between the bamboo and concrete, and they look beautiful at the same time. To do that, you mark the rebar locations on a piece of paper or plywood and transfer those marks onto a stone of your choice. And to drill the stone, you use a rotary drill with a masonry bit. Stones could have a tendency to crack, so have a few extra around just in case. Next thing you have to do is shape the bottom of the bamboo. This can be difficult. It's best to try and scribe the contours of the rock onto the bamboo and then grind it down with a grinder or a Dremel tool of some sort, constantly checking it to see how it's going. It's important to get this right, otherwise the bamboo will have a tendency to give way and crack. Now once you have all that done, make a small hole in the bottom node of the bamboo so that you could slip some concrete through. Place your bamboo pole over the rebar and onto the stone foundation. You may need a few friends here. And then go ahead and fill it with concrete using a funnel and a little bit of a wetter concrete mix to get inside of the bamboo cavity. Give it a knock every now and then and make sure it settles, and voila! You have a solid foundation for a bamboo building. Now that's a pretty cool way to create a foundation for bamboo now, isn't it? If you thought so, why don't you go ahead and plant your finger down on the like button. You know, every little like helps this channel grow. Now, I've never really actually made a foundation like this before, but I'm really excited to try them. This process was actually borrowed from the folks over at Bamboo U. They've made hundreds of foundations like these, and they have lasted them for decades. If you want to learn more about creating foundations like these and building out of bamboo in general, I really encourage you to check out one of their courses. And while I've never really built one of these cool concrete foundations for bamboo, I have built other things. Built a treehouse and a bamboo bungalow, and I've also learned a lot about treating bamboo. All right, everybody, till next time, hui ho.